people, I suppose, first of all, they were a little bit afraid of it because they didn't know what it was. If anyone was talking to me during a conversation, I told them I was studying at BAM, and firstly they said, what's that? And secondly they said, what are you doing that for? The colour that's in your hands or your face comes from the actual blood circulation through you. Embalming is actually an arterial injection, which means you mix up an arterial fluid which will put back the natural colour. You know, and you could see the difference between the deceased when you started and when you finished. And you were saying to yourself, like, that's a dignified picture. That is a lovely, dignified picture. You know, when somebody passes away belonging to me, I want them to look like that. Probably would say, someone might say, it's a bit strange to live over a funeral home. That to me is just normal procedure, like that wouldn't cost me a thought. The deceased won't do you any harm. Unfortunately, it's the living you have to look out for. If you came to visit me, say when we were 10 or 12, and we could be sitting inside in the sitting room, and next thing I could see a guy carrying coffins in the back, like, and you'd find that very strange. Like, first I wouldn't even notice them. You'd say to me, what's he carrying a coffin in for? We have to have coffins. Somebody in your own family passed away, and then you probably say to yourself, God, you know, the people that I had last week, like, this is what they were going through, and these feelings I'm having, this is what they were going through. You know, and I just didn't realise it, like, I was just there, like, doing what I'm supposed to do. I've often heard it said, the last picture sticks. And I suppose that's probably a tribute to the embalming process too, that the last picture does stick in your head. I embalmed my own mother, and all my friends tried to talk me over it, but I felt it was something I had to do for her. Ma'am, you know, put up with these coffins and hearses coming and going, they can never bat an eyelid, and the thoughts of it were probably harder than doing it. And I had a very good friend, an uncle of mine, a very good friend who came in and sat through it as I worked. And I actually did it on autopilot. I just did it on autopilot. But I was very proud. Very, very proud afterwards. If I think about my mum and her funeral, I still think of her at the top of the chapel in the coffin, not in the embalming room or when I was working. There wouldn't be an emotional side of it to me. It'd be when you're dealing with people and trying to comfort people. I mean, that's, you know, part of your job as well, if you can say something that will comfort them. So if a family ring you on a Monday and the burial is on Wednesday, your job is to get them to 2 o'clock on Wednesday. That's your job. Get them there and then you've done your job. They don't know what they're facing when they come into my place, and they're bracing themselves, but next thing you say to them, like, would they like to be left alone, like, because they want to preserve their mum's privacy or whatever the case may be, and you leave them alone, and 20 minutes later you hear laughter. They've just settled down, I suppose, like that. They've just settled down with that and accepted that. It isn't that they're not sad that the person passed away anymore. It's just that they've helped with the funeral process. And they're quite proud, and they're in a different frame of mind. I think it's very important. A couple of months ago, I happened to walk into the Credit Union, and there was a queue in the Credit Union, and there was a guy in front of me. So it was the guy probably about 75. So I would take quite a lot of holidays. It's well known that I would take a lot of holidays. So when he saw me coming in, he said to me, are you saving up for a holiday? And I said, I'm trying to pay for the last one. I said, are you saving up for a holiday? And the girl started laughing behind the counter. He said, I am. He said, the one I'm going to spend with you. So he was obviously putting money away for his funeral. If somebody has had a reasonably long life, and especially if the guy to live with, you say, well, they enjoyed it, or they went here, or they went there. You'll still have a situation that you can't handle, but I suppose 99% of the time you'll solve whatever the problem is, you'll solve it. So when you see a little white coffin, no matter where you see, even without actually seeing the baby, or having to go through the process of maybe getting that baby ready, when you see a little white coffin, that's hard. I think you'd want to be seriously made of stone. When you see that, that's tough on people. And I remember one young couple, and I'd say he was probably about 26 and she was probably about 24. They just put the little white coffin into the grave, and they got up and they were standing by the grave, and the priest was praying. For whatever reason, I just looked him in the face. And if you didn't know them, you'd say they were 70 years of age. It was just the sheer expression. I never forget it. It was absolutely frightening, this expression on their face. Like, I couldn't, just at that particular moment in time, I said, like, they must have, inside, they must have been just, in a terribly sad place. You do distance yourself, you must. You must actually distance yourself. And if you are going to have maybe a little moment, you'd make sure that you do it on your own. And I suppose in a small town like this, you know everybody. I'd have known a person personally, maybe before they passed away. I'd have known it maybe all my life. So they know if we ring Eamon, he'll sort this, he'll sort that. A poor youngster got killed in a car crash one day. I heard about it during the day, and his dad rang me maybe an hour or two later. And he just said to me, "Is that you, Eamon?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "This is..." And I said, "God," I said, "I don't know what to say to you." And he said to me, "I don't know what to say to you either." He said, "Will you sort it?" I said, "I will." And he hung up. And that was the conversation. It was a sad situation, but that was serious trust to just throw back at me. Just sort it, he said. It's not work to me. There's a great saying, find something that you love doing and never work again. So I love doing it. And if you like doing it, then I think it shows. Giving the family a good service. That's my number one ambition. If it helps them with their grief and it gets them from today to 3 days' time when they're either walking away from the graveside or they're walking away from the cemetery, like you will see me coming out of the cemetery or coming out of the crematorium, like with a smile on my face because I've done my job. We had 3 great characters here in town. They were standing at the back of the church years ago. But they'd always have a running commentary on the funeral, when the funeral was going on. And I just happened to be standing behind them one day. They didn't realise I was standing behind them. But at this stage, people had started bringing up gifts that would symbolise the person's life. So Hurley or a Stitter or whatever the case may be. So these 3 guys were standing in the back. And one of them turned to the other and they said, when Eamon goes, we'll have to bring up another coffin.